All right, everyone. In this video, we are talking about growth. Mainly, how do you target companies that are showing signs of growth? And there's lots of different growth types that you can look for, but I think a lot of these can really help refine your list. And you don't even have to reach out and use a jobs playbook outreach email, but at least you can use this to refine your list, know that they're growing, and then reach out to better companies and things like that. And so the main way that we're going to be doing this is using clay.com. And if you've never used clay.com before, it's basically over 100 integrations added into one spreadsheet that I think everyone that is doing any kind of definitely outbound marketing, but marketing in general should definitely be using to get their data together. And I was one of the first employees at clay.com. And I also was the first clay agency. So I love teaching people on how to use clay.com. But anyway, so first I'm going to show you how we can target companies that have open job roles. So I would say the cheapest way to get this done, because if you have a clay plan, you can pull this data for free. So this is the best way to be able to pull this data. So all you have to do is go to the start a new workbook and then hit find jobs over here to be able to find new open jobs. And so we can actually keep this empty to just find any company that's hiring at all. And if we just wanted to find any company that was hiring at all, we could keep the job description empty, and then we could put the limit per company to be 1. And then we would only be looking at companies that are hiring at all. Or we can do some other things to manipulate this, like putting in the United States and making our list a little bit nicer. Employment type, full-time, part-time contracts, all that other stuff. Do they have a recruiter or not? I want 90 days since being posted and max 100 dawow being posted. Or I guess 10 actually is really what I want. I guess I'll put 10 to 90. So it's been posted within 3 months. Look, we've got, 3 million jobs. Geez, that's a lot. And then our companies, we can even do a lookup. So if you've already figured out your ICP list of companies, then you could do a lookup and you could say, okay, I want these list of companies, and you could drop in a comma separated list. I would try to drop in company LinkedIn URLs as much as you possibly can. Domains are okay, but company LinkedIn URLs is really, really great. Or you could have your clay table of companies and you can select and then just do a lookup based on those companies. And so then anyway, if we were to just be looking for any of this stuff, we could also look for companies who are hiring for some keyword in their job description. And then we could get, on my clay plan, we could get 50,000. I think they're limited to like 2,500 or 5,000 depending on the tier. But we're just going to limit this to 2,500 just for purposes of today. And we can limit it 1 per company. So then we can just grab a list of companies that we know they're hiring at least 1 person. And then in the job description, we can put artificial intelligence. So then we could get some signal to know, okay, they are hiring specifically for artificial intelligence roles. We can run any kind of combination of what you think would be important for your company. And then we can hit continue. And then we are going to get all of this into our clay table. So this is how we just know generally that a company is hiring. So that's just one kind of growth. We know that all these companies are hiring. I put some extra filters on top of them. I'm even searching for companies that are hiring specifically for roles that mention artificial intelligence. So this is our first type of growth. Then we could also target companies by the count of jobs. And we can do that by, say, I only found 1 open job. And if I enrich these companies with the enriched company integration, and we could just throw this in. Does it have? Nope. Okay. Then we could find how many employees they have. And so now the next kind of growth that we can look for is how many overall jobs are they hiring for as a percentage to their overall employee count as reported on LinkedIn. There's just a difference between the employee count and the size, and you'll see that in a second. Employee count is the amount of people who have a LinkedIn profile and say, hey, I work for this company. And then the size is the amount of people that's a self-reported number by the HR team or whoever is controlling the LinkedIn company page. So this is a perfect example here. Remote worker US is off because I would imagine that there's 100 people. Oh, actually, they say they're 2 to 10 employees. Okay, so whatever. There might be 110 people who work for remote worker as what seems to be freelancers, and they don't actually work for the company, but then the company has 2 to 10 employees and they self-reported that. So this company is actually probably much smaller than they would think. But this company over here, SP Plus, they have 7,000 people associated with the company, but they self-reported 10,000. Most likely, they have a lot of people who don't say that they have a LinkedIn profile and then associate themselves with the company. So I'm just showing you this just because I don't want you to take like when you see size and you see employee count and there's a huge difference between the two of them, what you should probably do is you should probably think about, okay, who am I trying to target and what is more likely? Do they have a lot of LinkedIn profile people or do they have a lot of people who don't have LinkedIn profiles? And usually depending on your industry, it all kind of works out. But anyway, so then what we could do is we could use the integration inside of Clay to find company job openings. And so the integration will let us use companies, people, jobs, Lead Magic, and Predict Leads. So this is one of the few times that I would say that you get a lot of different features inside of Lead Magic than you would get just from the integration. So I would definitely check out their job stuff because they're doing a lot of really interesting stuff. I mean, look at how many more filters you get. But overall, they're just doing a lot of really interesting stuff when it comes to jobs embeddings and using AI in their job workflow and things like that. So definitely try them out if you really need this jobs data. For now, when I just want the count, I'm just going to keep it to this just to keep it kind of easy, but I would check out the other ones for sure too. So we'll just get this count for a couple of them. So then depending on which one we like, we can just pick a number in the middle and try to get a percentage of this. But today we're just going to get a percentage of this. So the way that we know the percentage is we can just make a formula, and I got to do math live. This is going to make me look bad, but we basically can then just get a percentage by saying divide. And some of you in the comments are going to say you're so stupid, but maybe it's this. And if it's not this, we'll figure it out. So we'll just do this division and see what we get. Yeah, that's wrong. Divide job openings by employee count. That's very odd. Okay. Whichever is the way, we're going to keep it. So then we could get a percentage of the overall growth of they have this many employees and they're hiring for 8% more of their workforce or whatever it might be. And I apologize if I do that math wrong. Ask ChatGPT which way the number is. I've been filming videos for 6 hours today, so I apologize about that. So anyway, now we can get the math over here by percentage to see, okay, they have this many people estimated in their workforce. They're only growing by 1% versus 8%, which means they really, really, really want to grow, right? So we can split them up that way. Another way that we could do this is target companies by their past growth in employee headcount. So we can go here and we can just say, we'll just do employee headcount growth as the search, find company headcount growth, and then we can enrich this, and then we could say how much, all of this data is going to be in the output, but if we want the percent employee growth over the last 6 months, great. We will select that and then hit save and run 10 rows. Boom, boom. And now we can get the growth in the past 6 months for how much they've been growing. And these are just simple numbers based on the data inside of the underlying data providers inside of Clay. So if you have any issues with it, it's like really just numbers based on a gigantic SQL query with the LinkedIn stuff. So take it for what it is and use it directionally. Do not email, big tip here. Do not email anybody and say, hey, Google, I saw you've grown by 1.28%. Nobody's going to, that just doesn't look really good. I personally would rather use Find Contacts, and I thought I would get into this later, but I personally would rather use Find Contacts at company and then hit save results in this table. And then I would rather, if I'm reaching out to the marketing team, I would rather use job title marketing and then look for maximum number of months since start of current role, and then hit 3. And then we find people in the marketing department so we could name drop and say, hey, I saw your department is growing. Boom. It looks like Kunal joined the team, or it looks like Lacia joined the team, right? So then you can name drop these people. And so instead of saying, hey, it looks like you've grown by 1.28%, you could say, hey, it looks like you're growing as I saw Kunal just recently joined the team or something like that. Now, you want to probably use some more filters, mainly state filters when you're reaching out to a company as large as Google, so that hopefully there's a shot that they're actually in the same place. Maybe even if they're that large as Google, maybe use cities as well too. But that's just another thing, just an extra that you can name drop the people actually in the department. And if there's small companies, if you're targeting companies with 2 to 50 employees, maybe you just drop the job title keyword even, and you just look for anybody who's new at the company, and you can name drop that as well too. So this is another way to just find recent hires at these companies as well too, which I think is even our next one. Oh, target companies by department headcount growth. So the way you get the department headcount growth is you can go to employee count by criteria. So we're going to use this one, find employee headcount by criteria. And then we're going to enter everything else in. And we're just going to put, so the reason I'm using find employee headcount by criteria and I'm not using the find people search is find people ends at just 10 examples. But what I really want is I want everybody in the marketing department. Now, if I were to do this seriously and it wasn't just an example, I would go to ChatGPT and I would say, hey, give me all the keywords that any person with any seniority would have in their title if they're in the marketing department, like marketing or graphic design or paid media or SEO or growth or partnerships, and just get ChatGPT to just give me all of those keywords and then output it in a comma separated format. So I could just drop it in as a job title here. So then we could get this count, right? Very nice. And I'm just going to show you, here we're going to save changes. And I just want to show you something that, see, even if I take away marketing, and I could be wrong, they might have updated it. Oh, so it will give you the count. Okay, so it will give you the count. That's fine. I just usually use find employee headcount by criteria over here, but that's fine. So then we have this count, right? And these are everybody in the marketing department. And then what we can do is we can just duplicate this, right? And then we'll just duplicate this here. And then we'll get marketing and then maximum number of months in role. And then run this. And then we know, okay, this is the amount of people who are in the overall department. These are the amount of people who joined in the last 3 months. Great. And now we can figure out how much the department is growing as well too. So it's just a different flavor of growth that you can get. And then we could target companies with recent hires, which this one is a lot of fun. If you want to target companies that have hired people recently, what I would probably do is I would start fresh and I would start with a find people search. So now we're not bound by this list of companies that I have in my search over here. We can make a new one. And then we can say, okay, I want everybody who's hired new roles. So maximum number of months in current role, 3. And then again, we can use the limit per company to be 1. So now, yes, we're going to get a list of people, but we are also going to get a list of companies that are bringing on new people. And then we could target them that way as well too. So we'll import these people to a new table. Cool. And then look at all, like these companies all are hiring new people as well too. I could have even improved this a little bit more and then not waste time on people who are located outside of the United States, or not waste time on people who have less than 200 employees or over 200 employees, whichever one you don't like. So it's another filter that I can drop on top of that as well too. When you target companies by funding rounds, I would personally do this probably with Claygent, and just ask it to, this is the domain, go check if they have recent funding. You could target companies hiring in new locations. One way to be able to do this is if we go to our jobs table, it'll have the location of where the job is. And then you can make a comparison of in the locations here, which this doesn't always work the best because sometimes they have other locations. But based on the locations that they have inside of Clay, are they hiring for a location that this location, this city and state is away from this city and state? And so personally, I would do this with AI, because if one of these is just a suburb of Salt Lake City or something like that, it's not going to catch, you're not going to do a keyword search that well. So if we literally just input this and we say, I want to know if this location, this location is located within a 25-mile radius of any of these locations. So then we'll put, I want to know if this location, and then we'll just put the location from the job. And I'm just putting it in quotes just to separate it, is located within a 25-mile radius of any of these locations. So one thing when people are using Clay for the first time is they don't know that you can drop all of these locations into this here. So then we'll push all of this here, and AI will just make the determination on this. Also, Clay has a meta prompter, so you don't have to make the prompt yourself. You can just generally tell it what you want it to do, and then it will generate the prompt. Just be careful because, yeah, like GPT 4.1 mini is not a bad suggestion here, but see, it's 3 credits per row. I'm not going to do that. So we're going to hit up here, and then we're going to swap 4.1 mini out for 4.0 mini, wherever it is. And then we'll run this. I should have checked it a little bit. I apologize. But then we'll run this, and then we can know, okay, matching locations, location not found, location not found. Okay, so then that would be a new one. Oh, this is so odd. Why is it saying location not found? That is so strange. Let's just read this again. Sorry, I'm doing this live, and I'm just trying to help. Okay, so this is actually good that this happened because I want to show you how I would change this. So yes, we should have read this AI prompt first. See how I'm inputting the location and it's saying 123 Main Street, Springfield, Illinois, and then the location being 456 Elm Street, Springfield, Illinois, and then true 456 Elm Street, Springfield, Illinois. What we need to do is reprompt it to say it's okay if the address doesn't match perfectly. I just want to know if the cities are close to each other at all. So if the company headquarters is in Paramus, New Jersey, but the job opening is in Ridgewood, New Jersey, I would say those are within a 25-mile radius of each other. I just want the output to be true or false. Is it within a 25-mile radius? And then if you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, how could you speed that up? I would also just put that into ChatGPT and just talk to ChatGPT and then just copy and paste it in. But still, we got GPT 4.0 mini. Great. And then we can run this, and then hopefully we fix this and I don't look like an idiot to anyone watching this YouTube video. But anyway, while that's running, I just think that a lot of times we're asked, how can we target companies? Look, perfect. We got true, false, all this other stuff. We can check this. I mean, it's going to be so hard to check because I don't know where these places are. But like Menlo Park, California. And then in here, we have Westchester, Pennsylvania, and Budapest. Okay, boom. So it nailed it there. Versus true San Francisco. Okay, it's going to say San Francisco there. Mount Sinai, New York. True. Yes, perfect. That's in New York. Minneapolis, EY. Ooh, okay. Let's look. Do they have a Minneapolis location? I'm not looking through all those. Maybe they do. I would believe that they totally have a Minneapolis location. Oh, false. Okay. Now here's another tip. I think that sometimes when you're prompting AI, you should tell it, output the result and tell me whether it's true or false, and then tell me why. 2 reasons. 1, so then we could easily read this and we could check, is it true or false? But then the second reason is because I feel like AI, even if it's going to hallucinate, if it's about to hallucinate and then it gives you the reason why it said that, but that goes against what it found, that cognitive dissonance will help it make it a lot more accurate. So I would include that. I wouldn't, if I were to change this prompt, I would say I want the result to say true or false, and then I also want an explanation of why this is the case and proof, and then we could take that from there. And so then you could target companies by website traffic growth. That's just something that you could get from SimilarWeb or SEMrush or something like that. And so basically, as a recap, because I know I talk fast and I went through this kind of quickly. First, you can use the job source inside of Clay to find any company that's hiring at all and just filter it for just one role. Or you could filter it for the job title and a job description that you really want to target. So you can make that list really, really nice. That, as long as you have a Clay plan and you're paying for the Clay plan, you can do that as much as you want. That's free to get that data when you're using this stuff. Then what we can do is we can find how many active jobs they have. And if you leave that open, we could get that as just as a percentage of their overall headcount, which is another way that you can tell that they're growing. Because if it's just, 1% of their overall headcount versus 20%, geez, they're hiring for so many roles. So that's another way you can get some growth. Then we can get the criteria to figure out how many people have been recently hired in the department, and you can find the differences between departments. You can use the find people table over here as well too, to then find anybody who's recently in their role at all. And then this is free to be able to run as long as you're paying for the Clay plan. You could do this as much as you like and just get a source of companies that are hiring new people and then limit it to one. So you got all these companies that are hiring for new people and then target them. You could literally just use this company domain and then find. Okay, so then you can hit find contacts at company again. And then save results in new tables. So then you can get, all right, this company is hiring for at least some people. They're bringing on new people. Find every marketing leader at the company. That's the way that you would do that as well. And then funding, I would definitely use Claygent to be able to do something like that. And then finally, are they hiring in new locations? This is something that I would definitely pass over to AI. This was just an example. You could tweak the prompt a little bit. But these are some common growth signals that we are often looking for. And so I hope this is useful for you to be able to see all of these as examples.